the controversy around Cam Newton. So Cam Newton went on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. They didn't really ask him a specific question. He just started talking about, I guess, his background, and he kind of went into the influence his mother had on him, and from that influence, I guess, his expectation of women, the type of women he dates and wants to marry. And there was a clip that they kind of took out of context, like literally just him saying, we'll get into it, but they took like a 30-second to minute, like out of context clip of him saying what he said, and they extrapolated that into their wild opinions about how he's like basically a misogynist and all these negative things. So I went ahead and found the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, found the particular full segment where he talks about it, and we're going to watch it in context and react and see, like, is Cam Newton a misogynist, or has he got valid opinions about what he's saying? So,
wait, quick question.
Go for it.
Is he still playing?
No.
Oh, okay.
He didn't play this year. His first year not playing. He hasn't officially retired.
I was about to say, did he retire, or is he just taking a break?
Pretty much, I'm sure, retired him. Because he already had one.
This retired him.
He already had one incident where he lost sponsorships because of a lady with a female reporter was asking him a question, and he was like, "Oh, really? A woman asking me about a something?"
Oh, no way.
Did he really do that? I don't remember that.
Oh man.
Was he joking or was he being serious?
Hey, my boy, use your Googles.
Well, here, I'll watch this, and if you could, Ian, see if you can try to find that clip, just to add, I guess, context to this, because that might fuel why some people said what they said. Because if that's true, that might make a little bit of sense. All right, so let's start this up.
So I'm not one of these dudes to be like, bro, I'm gutter, I'm this, I'm that. Man, I had a perfect example of what a man was in my life by my father. My parents have been together for 36, 37 years now, and it's a beautiful thing. I grew up in a 3-parent household, my mom, my father, and my grandmother. And I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch.
Okay, what's the difference?
A woman.
Pause.
A bitch is a person who's just, you know, girl, I'm a bad bitch, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I look the part, but I don't act the part.
Okay.
You know, and it's a lot of women who are bad bitches, and I say bitches in a way not to degrade a woman, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem is a boss chick. Now,
That's pretty much
a
where
woman
that
for
clip
me
ends.
is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs.
What's up, Merc and Frogs?
And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bitch, like I'm a this, I'm a that. No, baby, like, but you can't cook.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead.
Now, a lot of women, now the kickback of that is be quiet. I'm gonna be quiet for the man and handle his business. You know, that's what they say. Oh, I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna be submissive to a man and handle his business. That's what they gonna say. So what is your?
But it's ways to do it. And I'm not just about to sit up there and beat up my queen.
No, I ain't saying like that.
But I'm also gonna also tell the men to start being men, bro.
Absolutely.
Like, that sucker shit should not be rewarded.
And what sucker shit? So
you know, when a person carries himself social media wise and it's a fraud in real life.
okay.
You know, it's more to every person that got money, every person who's rich isn't a real one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that gets kind of misconstrued in this society now because a lot of people have money, but they're not genuine people, you know.
Right.
And I pride myself, everybody who knows me knows, like, bro, Cam's a solid dude.
I gotta
He keeps
pause
a
it in.
circle of
What's up, Ethan?
What's up? I ain't
Nah,
gonna
we ain't
lie.
bored. We were
I'm
just
so
watching.
perplexed by Cam Newton's hat. It's like the feather wants to fall off the hat, but it's not going to fall off the hat. So it's like strategically put on the
It
hat.
looks like a snake is fighting a bird on his hat. Right?
Oh, okay. The feather has been caught by the snake's tail. Got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This
Got you.
feather
I've been
finishing on the bird. I didn't
staring
catch
at
that,
his
but now
hat,
that you
Ethan.
pointed out, that is
My
kind of a
bad,
weird
dude.
placement for the feather. Yeah, that little segment right there, little clip, the boss bitches and how they don't know how to cook, know how to. Basically, when he said they need to know when to be quiet, is what went viral. Pretty much, you know, saying women need to basically shut up, which is not what he said, but they took it as him saying women need to shut up. And
Wait, that was the whole thing? That was the only part that was controversial? I'm not
Basically.
asking.
No, I understand. I'm trying to remember specifically what like went. they took a small clip, and I'm trying to remember what specifically I saw that was people were disgruntled about, mainly on the woman side of the community. I guess you could say the bad bitch side of the community, clearly, because he singled them out. And
well,
it was,
I could definitely see why they would get upset because he followed that. Well, the previous comment
pimp.
was like they can't cook
Been like
and
this
they
for the
can't shut
past
up.
4 or 5 years now.
He threw out the stereotypes, you know what I mean, like the cooking and the shut up like woman type deal. So
Well,
I
I
can
mean-
see why like people would, especially that short tempers, would go towards that. The only thing is that like what he's really saying is he just doesn't like arrogant women.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like, and I'm making this assumption based off what he said, and this might be a wrong assumption, but he's kind of like a traditional guy, and he wants a traditional woman, it seems like. And I don't think anything's wrong with that. And I think if women who see themselves as bad bitches don't like the way men see them, then I think that's something they need to address because, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but based off some of these podcasts, for example, Fresh and Fit and these other podcasts out there, I don't remember their names, but the most popular one is Fresh and Fit. The type of girls they bring on, I would argue, are the ones who classify themselves as these bad, independent girls. And the problem is those girls genuinely don't know how to cook. Majority of them don't know how to cook or clean or any other stuff. They do it for themselves, sure, but they don't provide that kind of stuff for a relationship. I'm not saying they should or they have to, but when it comes to what some men in the traditional mindset expect of a woman in a relationship, they don't do that. So if that's a point of contention for them, I don't understand why, because if that's not what you want, then or that's not what you want to provide, then why is that an issue for you? Like, I don't know. I think it's funny that women who aren't traditional get mad at men who want traditional women. I just think that's weird. I don't know. Like, that's not your fight. You don't have a dog in this fight. Men don't want you. These type of men don't want you. So if they're complaining about you, I guess that's the issue. Is they're complaining about non-traditional women when they didn't even want them in the first place. So I guess I understand that. But then at the other flip side is, why do you care? Like, they don't want you in the first place. I guess that's my take.
It's an issue in the sense that like, you know, society's empowered them so they can feel like open about rejection of traditional men. I think the irony comes though when those women want a traditional man. Like they want like the traditional like male side of things. The traditional male then wants the traditional female side of things, and then that's where, you know, the waters get murky. But I totally agree with his like take on like just I don't like arrogant women. I don't like them either.
Fair.
And yeah, like I don't know, like I feel like hyping yourself up a lot of times. Sometimes I find those people aren't. They have to inflate themselves because that's all it is. It's just air.
Well, I guess the last thing I'll let you speak. Sorry, because you haven't spoken yet about this. It's just the whole point when he said about women need to learn be quiet. What did he say specifically? Was they need to learn to be quiet, or they need to know when to be quiet?
When to be quiet, I guess.
He probably could have found a better way to phrase that, but I think I understand what he was trying to say, and it goes with the doc said about arrogant women, because sometimes women just like to talk, and maybe not. Let me see if I can find a better way to phrase that. They like to argue. It's not all women, but some women, and I do agree on the bad bitch side, tend to like to argue for the sake of arguing, and that can be exhausting and so draining, and it's just, and I think that's what he was trying to say, is because I mean when he said it, I agree with it. Like a woman who knows when not to be, I'm gonna use Doc's word, arrogant, condescending, belittling, just all that is refreshing. It's refreshing. I don't know what else to say. Go for it.
I don't think he meant that women should shut up and cook. I don't
think he
was
meant
his
that either.
intention.
Same.
He tried to put as much disclaimers as he could throughout the conversation.
He did.
You could tell he was doing all the verbal jutsus. I also don't think that, and this is just based off just listening to you guys, honestly speaking, I think everybody's allowed to have their preference of what they want. But I think, obviously for conversational purposes, we do it. But I think most of the time what we have is people projecting their preferences onto other people.
Fair.
So even though he may, for example, it always sounds hypercritical when you're being critical of a side that you don't represent. The critique always sounds.
Say that again.
The critique always sounds more harsh when it's coming from a side that's not represented.
Okay.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
To speak for themselves or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like he's not a woman. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, he could have worded it better. Because to me, and this is what I'm hoping he's saying, so this is me projecting, to me he's saying, even though the full sentence of know when not to talk or when not to speak or whatever, the full sentence is also know when to speak. meaning like
I still need
if
to know
you
your
see
opinion.
I'm timid, no, not even that. If you see I'm timid if I'm at the restaurant and I didn't get something, I asked for green beans and they gave me mac and cheese, and I'm not really tripping off of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not tripping off of
I'll
it.
trip
like
for you.
She knows I'm not the type of personality to go and make a big deal of it, and not even to make a big deal of it, but just to get that thing done. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think it was. I think it was weird, not weird, but just because of where we are right now, it would have been better worded if he didn't focus on the not speaking and actually focused on
the compliment of each other.
The compliment of each other. So, because that's what I personally believe. But
Me
also,
too,
it's his preference. He can't when all these podcasts do these things, you can't project your preference onto. Yes, your preference was going to fit a certain group of people, but it doesn't fit all men. You get what I'm saying? Because there are some men who are good but are very timid and want a loud, boisterous, stereotypical bad bitch that he's trying to define. But we're just talking. What he's talking about is girls with lots of Instagram followers with no money that don't do anything, that don't have anything really going for themselves. That's he's talking about specific
leading with insecurities, like you've said before.
Group though, so
he's projecting his what's it called, but then the other people are leading with their insecurities about it.
Exactly, but there are a lot of people also don't feel that or represent that either. So they're feeling he's attacking them as well. Like the girl who's a lawyer, who's doing what she's supposed to do and doing all that, she might also be incensed by what he's saying because she might be the independent woman, or the breadwinner in her relationship, or the vocal lead in the relationship because the dynamics have changed. You know what I'm saying? And if the man is okay with that, then in her relationship, if the man is okay with that dynamic, he's not technically speaking for that man.
But the funny thing, though, it goes back to what Doc says, the conundrum of the fact that those independent, non-traditional women, though, eventually, I'm not going to say eventually, but to get my point across, sometimes get to a point where they want a traditional man. They're with these progressive men or these non-traditional men, I don't know what you want to call them, but these men who aren't traditional, and they're not.
But what do you mean by traditional? Break that down.
Yo, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. This podcast is sponsored by Angel Blinds, a local Atlanta area small business. Their blinds help you get a new look for your living room, to your bedroom, to your dining room. They even got custom kids blinds with their favorite superhero or princess. Use our promo code FDT. Our audience gets 10% off their first purchase. You can find them at Facebook at Angel Blinds, or Instagram at Angel Blinds _ between Angel and Blinds. So check them out.
Men or just in general traditional?
Like traditional. What do you mean? Yeah, like
a traditional relationship basically is obviously the man is the breadwinner. He goes out to work to bring home the bacon, the money, the provisions, the security, all that technical stuff, and the woman is the nurturer. You know, she has the kids, she raises the kids, she makes sure the house is well kept, cooking, cleaning, blah blah blah, like that side of it all.
Okay.
To simplify the traditional roles, that's what it was. Non-traditional modern day roles is the woman can either be the provider, the security figure, all that stuff, and the man can be the stay-at-home dad now, because apparently there's been, I don't know the statistics of it, but there has been a rise in stay-at-home fathers. That is technically a non-traditional household role dynamic.
Okay.
And I'm not saying whether that's good or bad, but there have been, I'm not saying the majority, but there have been some women who have expressed their distaste when it comes to traditional gender roles or dating roles, but then they pursue men who have traditional mindsets or at least mannerisms. And that's a conundrum because it's kind of funny.
It's not even a conundrum. Actually, you just said it. I agree with everything you just said, though. It's not a conundrum because then don't date them. Why are people complaining about the people they don't want to date? There's somebody for everybody. Like there's the women that are complaining about the non-traditional men. Go get a traditional man. Like
but
what?
They can't though. That's the funny thing. What do you mean? Traditional men don't want them.
Okay, so boom. You got to find what you can get. That's just what it is. So you can't complain.
That's why it's a conundrum.
No, it's not a conundrum. You just can't complain. That's life. You can't complain about something. If something don't want you, you're going to force something to want you. That's not what that is. So it's like we're literally complaining that the thing that we want doesn't want us. Is that what you're saying? That people are complaining that the thing that they want, the stereotypical, the whatever they look for, their perfect mate, they can't find. They don't want what's available.
Yes.
It's more so the idea that they want to what was that saying? Like their slice of cake and
they want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, like they want it all.
So you're talking about a group of delusional people.
Yeah, like that's the issue, and I think that's what he's. I guess that's what Gene, not Cam Newton, is kind of getting to. Like, there's like some people that haven't taken the time to do the introspection to realize that they want the traditional man, but also the freedoms of the inverse in themselves. But they can't have it all. Like, you kind of have to give to get in that situation. So you're either
compromise
going to go for
or whatever,
guy, or you're going to give up the traditional minded guy and get like the progressive whatever, while you become whatever it is you want to become. Like, you kind of have to do that understanding. And I think if you want it all, you kind of have to do it in silence. Like, you can't really keep bitching about it vocally and complaining and stuff like that to force the world to give it to you, because that just seems kind of wrong. Like, you end up becoming an arrogant woman, I think, or an arrogant man, trying to force everyone around you, to give it to you. And it's just like, no, like, if you want it, like, understand that you want something that's incredibly difficult and probably impossible, and so you have to kind of suffer this struggle in silence until you finally get it. And then once you get it, hold on to it.
Because, like I said, I try to put this disclaimer when I first brought this up, because I don't know if this is the majority or the minority. I'm only going off of the type of women I see in these dating type podcasts, from Fresh and Fit to Kevin Samuels to these other knockoffs of Fresh and Fit who want to be like them in other places, and the other knockoffs of Kevin Samuels. Not trying to be disrespectful, just saying like it's similar content, and it's appreciative because it's given a lens potentially into how women think. And I don't know if they're the majority or the minority, but based off the representation that has been representing some of the community of women on these podcasts, that's the conundrum that they're facing. At least they're finally realizing is there are these new modern women who want to be in this modern dating, but they're not happy with the dating pool that they're being exposed to, and they want these type of men, but those type of men want a more traditional woman, and they don't want to be a traditional, like, it's a conundrum, like I said.
I think we forming these ideas based off of CNN polls. That's what it sounds like to me. It really sounds like when I'm hearing it out loud now, like I've thought these thoughts too, but when I'm hearing it out loud now, it's like, son, yeah, but how many of those people do you really interact with? Like, everybody has a little bit of everything in them. You feel me? I'm not saying that these people don't exist that are on the internet, but I'm saying we're going to these specific sources and seeing these groups and interacting, and we have to remember these people that are creating their content are interacting off of what's getting the most views. So if the wholesome videos get the most views, guess what they're going to start doing? The most wholesome stuff. But that's not the stuff that gets the views. So now you've already put your information that we're looking through on dating through a lens of views, but that person's lens is also, I need toxic shit. We're viewing some toxic shit and then thinking like, oh, you know what? All women, we leaving the crib, all women thinking like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then women thinking, oh, I need to go bust a play. I need to go get a trick. Everybody thinking like, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I haven't interacted with that many people that actually all the way believe one way or the other way is what I'm trying to say. And so I think the dating in the real world is a little bit more realistic, to the point where you probably meet people doing the things that you like in places that you like to go.
Well, I'm sure you find people you like, but it comes down to whether or not your personalities and character and all that stuff kind of match it.
But I'm saying if you're a traditional woman, right, and you're saying,
honestly, fuck the traditional
or whatever, but there's places is for that.
I get what you're saying. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, I don't want to focus too much on the whole traditional, progressive, or modern kind of woman, man, dating, or whatever. I just think it comes down to how we grew up. There seems to be a lack of compromise. Women want their cake and eat it too, and arguably I think men want their cake and eat it too. And the problem is, we're not talking about how to actually build relationships. All we're talking about is what I as a man can get from a woman and what I as a woman can get from a man. That's not how you build relationships. Relationships, like you said before, and I'm pretty sure we've all agreed and said something similar to this, is about compromise, a level of sacrifice. What am I willing to let go of for you, and what you're willing to let go of for me, and what we can do to make this work? How can my puzzle piece fit with your puzzle piece? Not how I can force my puzzle piece to jam into yours to force this to work, or take advantage of you to milk some out of you. Like, that's what, when I watch this stuff, that's what I see. It's not me trying to reaffirm my person. Like, I'm more of a traditional kind of guy, but it's not to reaffirm my traditional beliefs or to enjoy content of men shitting on women is to understand what seems to be the missing element. And for me, the missing element, and I could be wrong here, but it seems to be a lack of compromise on both parties. It's just women tend to be more vocal about their dating preferences or wants than men are, because most men, correct if I'm wrong here, maybe my bias here is most men just want to fuck, and we're willing to say and do whatever it takes just to have sex.
My last point on it, I seen something today that said men are dating women's bodies and women are dating men's pockets, which is funny, but
kind of accurate.
But I will say too, all this shit don't matter. I forget it, dude. All this shit don't matter, dude. Like it's fake. Like all the toxic shit on the computer, all that shit is fake.
Like I say,
you go
trendy.
outside.
It gets people
If you're a Christian person, if you're a Muslim person, if you're whatever your religious person, and that's like the most important thing to you, chances are the person
church.
you need to be. It's like that's how it works.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to figure that out myself personally. You got anything, Doc?
It sounds to me like he's actually speaking at what he's seeing on Instagram, and then he's just like he's seen these videos, and then he came into the podcast and kind of spoke like, "Oh, I hate all the women in these videos and stuff like that," or like on these Twitter tweets. So I don't know if he's actually meeting them. I mean, he lives a completely different life, though. He hangs out in $1 million areas. So, I mean, I've never met people on that stature. Maybe he does see women that are exactly what he's talking about in person. But, yeah, I've never really seen anything like that. I have seen people, though, like, and I've experienced myself conflict between women that, like, want the whole cake. And I say that because I remember being in a relationship with somebody who was extremely progressive. I just kind of let them do their thing, and then at some point they turned around and they're like, "How come you're not a businessman?" And I was like, "What the fuck? Like, that wasn't the deal. Like, I get to be not that because I let you be what you fucking want to be, and then all of a sudden you're asking me to do like the most traditional shit, like wear a suit and go into a fucking like own a business and stuff like that." And I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
You actually experienced that?
Yeah. It actually
wild.
fucking it rocked the fucking whole relationship after that, because like there was a dude that she knew that was a businessman, and obviously like he started pulling her from me, and I was just like, dude, like this chick was like hardcore feminist, and all of a sudden like
isn't that funny? Isn't that a conundrum?
Yeah, I was dealing with some fucking like traditional guy shit that I was just like, damn, like what the fuck. It was really weird, man. Like I said, the whole relationship was pretty strange. It does go to show that there are some women that like they want and they vocally state that they want something, and then when something more traditional comes around, like the allure of it takes them away from it and stuff like that, and you just kind of have to deal with it. I mean, now like years later, I'm kind of just like that person was in a weird fucking headspace, and it wasn't me. It was just that whole situation.
Nobody makes a podcast about people not wanting them. I mean, the type of guy I like doesn't like me. Where are we hearing that? What content creators on that?
I mean, they're probably not popular, but I'm sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, they probably have like Instagram accounts, but I don't know if they have a whole podcast bitching. Like, damn.
Or
because that'd be insane.
And also, you're allowed to.
It sounds like it might be actually be possible now. The more I think about it.
Also, you're allowed to date and find out what you like and don't like too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe she thought she liked a non-traditional thing, and not specifically for your case, but maybe she thought she liked something, and she found out she didn't through the experience, and then it was like, okay, cool.
But I guess
I definitely do think that's what happened. That's what happened, because I eventually met them later, and she was more with a guy that like super progressive and stuff like that. So I think that person was also like, you know, a lot younger than me at the time, so it's just like, oh, okay, like they're doing their thing.
Was he a businessman though?
No. That's what I'm saying. Like later on, like
this businessman word is crazy.
When I ran into her again,
because he used it for the guy.
She
like
kind of leveled it back out, but like definitely she was kind of going everywhere. Which was honestly, that's when I reflected, when I was just like, oh yeah, I was a little bit older, and I myself was like, you know, waving back then and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. Yo, thanks for making it to the end. We really appreciate it, and hope you all enjoyed the show.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and the notification bell to get notified when we post our clips.
Follow us on Twitter at PodcastFDT. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all fake deep thinking. Check us out, please.
FDT. Peace, y'all.
Peace.